I think that is a big problem actually in our culture, that we're getting more and more assuming of other groups of people and other individual people. I think it's getting worse, not better in this country. And we're getting so hyped up by what we see on the news that we automatically start making categories based on skin color or socioeconomic status or, political size, and we start to disconnect from people. And then on top of disconnecting, the reason why we're disconnecting is because we spend most of our time assuming that those people must hate us. I think about how many of you might be making assumptions about people that could be a great friend to you, but you've made assumptions based on other things that the world has told you divides you, instead of just saying, hi, how are you? Let's go beyond just interpersonal relationships and let's get into what this message is about. Some of you are making assumptions about Jesus. You're making assumptions about Jesus because you've been told about Jesus in a way that is absolutely wrong. And some of you are here this morning and you are keeping Jesus completely out of your life because you have chosen to listen to what other people have told you Jesus is like, and it's not a Jesus that you're interested in knowing. In fact, I would go so far as to say that many of the people who reject Jesus are rejecting a Jesus that does not exist. I want to give you a couple of examples of these Jesuses out there that get kind of invented by religious leaders or other people in our community or in the world. That this kind of Jesus does not exist. Number one, the good person Jesus. This is the Jesus that likes you when you're good, sees you when you're sleeping, knows when you're awake, knows when you've been bad or good, so be good for Jesus' sake. For the bad people in this place right now, you're out of luck. Like Jesus might love you because he has to, but he doesn't like you, He doesn't want anything to do with it. This is the Jesus for Sunday school. This is the Jesus for the Boy Scouts of America. This is the Jesus for the people who know how to dress up on Sunday morning and they don't have any tattoos and they are nice, good, upstanding, moral people. And I just want to tell you, I don't know who introduced you to that Jesus, but he does not exist. You know who Jesus came for? Bad people. Disreputable, sinful people who are not morally good. And do you know why? The only people that Jesus actually associated with were bad people. Do you know why? Because bad people were all he could find. The world is not filled with good people and bad people. It's filled with some people who know how to fake it better than other people. The second Jesus is religious ritual Jesus. This is the Jesus that shows up 3 times in your life. When you're born, when you're married, and when you die. This Jesus appears for the 3 big moments of your life, and outside of those moments, you can just leave this Jesus alone. He lives at the church. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know who told you about this Jesus, but this Jesus does not exist. I don't imagine that you would consider anyone in your life important that you only saw 3 times over the course of your entire life. I think, and I know actually, that the reason why Jesus came was to tell the world, I'm really not interested in your religious practices. I'm really not interested in you going through the motions. I want to know you. I want to be in your life. I want to be your life. I want to be with you. That's the Jesus that I see in the New Testament, a Jesus who wasn't afraid to do life with people who were nothing like him. Number 3, political Jesus. Now, political Jesus is schizophrenic. The reason why is because people on the left and the right both think that their version of Jesus is the real Jesus. Like when Hillary gave her concession speech, she started talking about Jesus. And then all through the stump speeches of Donald Trump, he kept saying, nobody loves Jesus more than me. Is Jesus Republican? Is Jesus Democrat? Is Jesus right-wing? Is Jesus left-wing? And if you talk to both sides, they'll say, we know that Jesus likes us and not them. And maybe you've gotten a church where they've taught you, this is how Jesus would vote. This is who, if you really want to please, then you better vote this way. And not just the different sides of the political aisle, but in the churches of America, there's right-wing Jesus and there's left-wing Jesuses, and I don't know, maybe that's why you keep Jesus at arm's length, because you don't want to get involved in all of that controversy and nonsense and demonization of the other side. And I want to let you know today, I don't know who introduced you to political Jesus, but political Jesus does not exist. He's not right-wing and he's not left-wing. Jesus is for the whole stinking bird, friends. He wants all of America to know who he is. 4thly, boyfriend Jesus. This is the one all the single ladies love. I'm not gonna date any guys. I'm just gonna date Jesus. It's gonna be me and Jesus, me and Jesus. And this is the one, if you are like me and you come from a charismatic church background where it was all about emotional, relating to God, and I like that, and that's not a bad thing, but this is the one that those churches really love because it's all about feeling Jesus. I feel his presence right now. Stop what you're doing. I just feel the presence of Jesus right now. He's just right here. He's right here. It's like he's Jesus. Do you feel that? Do you feel Jesus? I feel Jesus. And then these people, that's what they do, is they start to make everything about how they feel. And most of the times, I'm going to tell you, I've been a Christian my whole life. You don't always feel it. You do feel it, but it's not always. Like, I don't walk around and just say, ooh, Jesus, ooh, Jesus. I don't do that. I get up, I make my coffee, I go to work. That's what I do. I mean, come on. And then what do we do ultimately, though, when we make Jesus, like boyfriend Jesus, is that we make it about our emotions and our feelings, and your feelings are the worst kind of things you can listen to. Your feelings are as unreliable as the rain. I mean, it's just not the real way you want to go about thinking about Jesus. The things that are most constant in our lives are the things that we actually feel the least. Nobody in this room right now is feeling breathing. Nobody's sitting there saying, I got a good flow going on. You got a good flow going on? In and out. In and out. It's good. You're good. I'm good. I really feel breathing today. Nobody's doing that. Nobody woke up this morning and said, I feel human. I've got opposable thumbs. I can reason and rationalize. I am human. Nobody did that. But it doesn't make it not true. It's the most constant thing about your life. And just because you don't feel it doesn't mean God's not there. I don't know who introduced you to boyfriend Jesus, but boyfriend Jesus does not exist. And then rescue me, Jesus. This Jesus gets me a bit mad because this Jesus is for the people who can never get their act together. Some of you don't believe in Jesus, but you got a cousin who was an addict, and then he became a Christian. You're like, okay, good. I'm glad he found something that worked for him. That's good that it worked. I'm glad that he really had to get something because he just couldn't get his act together. And so thank God he has religion or whatever. And so you kind of like, here's what you do. You disconnect from Jesus for yourself because you have falsely believed that Jesus only came for the people who really can't get their act together. This is the Jesus that you find when you go to prison. You get up there for the news conference. I may have sliced and diced my wife, but thank God I found Jesus. Like, as much as Jesus is for prisoners, and he is, please don't make the mistake to think that Jesus is only for people who can't get their act together. Because there's not people who have their act together and people who don't have their act together. There's just people who know how to fake it a little bit better than others. This Jesus that we see in Matthew's house comes to hang out with tax collectors and sinners. Do you know why? Because this Jesus came for everybody. He's the kind of person who loves people who are nothing like him. Have you met him?